The heart of God can be moved because God is a person, not a force. This Christian truth shines through in today's gospel. Jesus had a particular mission to accomplish during his earthly lifetime. He was to fulfill the Old Testament prophecies and lay the foundation for the church. The parameters of this mission did not include the Canaanites. The Canaanites and the Israelites were essentially enemies. And yet, Jesus makes an exception to these parameters after his encounter with the Canaanite woman. She touched his heart because she had what Christ's heart most yearns for: love, faith, and humility. Her love comes across in her self-forgetfulness. She was so concerned about her daughter that she was even willing to make a humiliating spectacle of herself by tagging along after a Jewish rabbi and calling out for his attention. Her faith comes across in how she addresses Jesus. She calls him Lord and Son of David. This shows that although she was a Canaanite, she knew about the Jewish religion and accepted God's promise to send a Messiah. And when he finally stopped to listen to her, she falls on her knees and does him homage. She knows that she is in God's presence. She believed in Jesus so much that Jesus himself complimented her on her faith. Her humility comes across in a way that makes her stronger. She didn't come bearing a grudge against God for allowing her innocent daughter to be tormented by demons. She understood that miracles were undeserved gifts from God, just like existence itself. This humble attitude strengthened her, enabling her to absorb the Lord's initial rejection and then come right back with another petition. Love, faith, and humility. These are the ingredients for prayer that moves the heart of God, a heart that can be moved because he is a person and not a force. But sometimes, in the back of our heads, we can't help but wonder why our prayers aren't always getting the dramatic and immediate action that the Canaanite woman got. Is it just because we don't love enough? Maybe we're not humble enough? We don't have enough faith. Maybe sometimes this can be the case. But there are other times when we approach God in the way that we approach a Coke machine. We think that if we deposit our $1.50 in Hail Marys and Our Fathers, God will give us exactly what we've asked for. And when that doesn't happen, which is usually most of the time, we give up hope. But we shouldn't do that. God answers every single prayer that we utter because he is a perfect Father with a perfect Father's heart. He can answer our prayers with a yes, a no, or a not yet, but he always answers it. And the mature faith understands this. King David gives us an example of this mature faith. After he committed adultery with Bathsheba and murdered Bathsheba's husband, the prophet Nathan confronted him, and he repented in public. But Bathsheba gave birth to a son as a result of this adultery. And when the infant child fell sick and was dying, King David prayed and fasted for 7 days, begging God to heal him. On the 7th day, the child died. David's servants were afraid to tell him because they weren't sure how he would take it. But they were wrong. When David realized that God had not given him what he had asked for, he humbly accepted God's decision. When God doesn't give us exactly what we ask for, it simply means that he's planning on giving us something better. God is not a Coke machine. He is our perfectly wise and loving Father. Jesus changed his perspective plan because he encountered with the Canaanite woman fit into his overall plan to overcome the power of the devil and win all hearts back to God. This should give us an unbridled confidence as we, like the Canaanite woman, bring our needs to the feet of Christ. Today, he will become truly present under the appearance of the bread and the wine during our Holy Mass. And at the elevation, after the words of consecration, all of us here will give homage to our Lord, just like the Canaanite woman did. And when that moment comes, let's open our hearts to Christ, showing him so much love, faith, and humility as we can muster. Perhaps we can do this by praying at that moment passionately for a loved one who is ill or separated from God, as the Canaanite woman did. Perhaps our prayers will be more personal, asking God to strengthen us for our own struggles during this coming week. However we do it, let's give Christ the pleasure of knowing that we truly believe in him and trust that he can make a crucial difference in our lives and in the lives of those around us.